Hello, Andres. We hope you're doing well, and welcome to our presentation on how to value a blockchain. So let's get started and see what the difference is between a public and a private blockchain. As you know, there are multiple types of blockchains, but we're going to start by discussing the public ones. These are open, decentralized networks in which anyone can take part in, and see the transactions that were made through it. Bitcoin, for example, was the very first public blockchain. Later in the presentation, we'll go more into Ethereum and Ripple. Anyone can access these platforms and take part in transactions and validate the blocks. It's basically a network of nodes that collaborate to validate transactions and add them to the blockchain to maintain the blockchain. Private blockchains, on the other hand, are managed by a single organization or a group of organizations. The participants are identified and only they have access to these blockchains. They typically serve commercial needs and are not accessible to the general public. Participants control who has access to the network and pre-approved nodes validate the transactions. What are the benefits and drawbacks of each sort of blockchain? Well, the public blockchains are frequently thought of as being more secure. As a result, the network is immune to hacking and other hostile attempts, and there is no single point of failure. Public blockchains are also more transparent because everyone can join and anyone can view the transactions, which makes them perfect for applications where openness is important. Public blockchains have the disadvantage of being slower and less scalable than private blockchains. This is due to the fact that each network node must validate every transaction, which might delay the procedure. Furthermore, it is challenging to enforce governance and compliance standards because there's no control over who participates on the network, as everyone is it's open to everyone. Um, Private blockchains, on the other hand, are typically faster and more scalable because the network is smaller. Transaction can be validated more quickly. They're also better suited for corporate applications because of the participants' ability to implement governance and compliance standards due to access restrictions. Their disadvantages, on the other hand, are being more centralized, which makes them more susceptible to hacking and other malicious assaults. Additionally, there is less transparency because the network is managed by a single entity or group of entities, which might not be suitable for applications where transparency is essential. So now we'll compare a public and a private blockchain and with two examples, starting off with Ethereum, which is an open source decentralized public platform that allows the creation and implementation of smart contracts and decentralized applications. It uses a token called Ether as a digital currency to facilitate the exchange on the platform. Ripple, on the other hand, is a private blockchain network created back in 2012. This blockchain is also called a real-time gross settlement system. It was invented to provide faster, cheaper, and more reliable way for larger financial institutions to settle transactions all over the world.
Okay, now we'll be looking at how to value a private blockchain. But before that, I will quickly introduce why there's even some doubt in the first place that you'll be able to value blockchain, because most people think that you can't get insights on the intrinsic value of the blockchain by simply looking at some of the factors that surround the company, and they think that it's not very similar to a business like environment. But yeah, when going through the steps, you can see how it actually is pretty similar to a business, and yeah, how we can get some intrinsic value and even a little bit of financial data out of the private blockchain. And later you will see how that works for the public blockchains as well. Yeah. So for the non-financial insights we can gain for private blockchain, we first have the purpose and the usage of the blockchain. So let's compare two blockchains. One has a usage and solves a critical problem, and the other one doesn't really solve any critical problems. So therefore, we could estimate that the one blockchain that solves a critical problem has probably a higher value than the one that doesn't. And similar for the network effect. Let's say a blockchain has a very high network, working together with partners, yeah, solving problems for other companies already being established in the blockchain environment, compared to a company that is not very established as of now. Then we can also value the company that is established higher. Then we have the security, and for security, yeah, it's very important to establish a great security as a blockchain company, because there's going to be tons of transactions each day that go through the blockchain, and if your blockchain is not able to handle that, then the value is probably lower than one of the blockchains that could handle a high load of transactions each day. Then next up, we have the supply and demand of the token that the blockchain offers. So if you just simply look at the demand for the token, available, then you can also get a good picture of how fair you can value the blockchain overall. And lastly, we have the competition, meaning that if you have two blockchains that are similar, they probably lose value compared to a blockchain that has a pretty individual and a rare problem solving skills, so to say. Then looking at the financial aspects, we have two approaches that estimate potential costs and cash flows. So for the cost approach, we could look at the company, how much it costs to set up the blockchain, how much it costs to maintain the blockchain. So we get an overall picture of how the blockchain works and how much money they need to maintain the blockchain. And then combining that with the cash flow approach, where we could get insights on fees that they take for each transaction, how much demand there is for the tokens, how many tokens there are available in the market right now, what the price of the tokens are, and with these informations, we could estimate the cash flow of the company, and therefore, take the present value of these cash flows and get a better understanding of where the blockchain stands as of now. And next, I would like to shortly go over a valuation of one of the private blockchains. So we have Ripple in this case, and how we could value this. We can see that they specify in cross-border payments, and with the world already very globalized and probably further globalizing in the next couple of years, there's going to be increased demand. So we can say that in that aspect, the value for this blockchain is pretty high. And their solution, their critical solution point is that they want to make transactions faster than if you do a normal bank transfer, where it probably takes a couple of days to transfer the money. But with the blockchain technology, it would go in a matter of seconds. And on the company webpage, you can see that they have established a big network and work with a lot of partners already. So based on these three factors, we could say, okay, this blockchain actually has some pretty nice intrinsic value, and we could see that in the future it could continue to strive, so to say. And we also calculate the market cap by basically just calculating the current price, multiply it by the current demand, and which left us at 20 billion market cap, $20 billion of market cap.
So in order to determine the value of a public blockchain, let me first address the four factors that influence the value of a blockchain. First, there's network size and usage. So the more users the blockchain has, the more liquidity there is, making it a more valuable blockchain. Secondly, the developer activity. The more developers are trying to innovate and create an improved blockchain, the more valuable it will be because of future efficiency. Thirdly, the governance structure is also very important. By having a more decentralized platform, there are less players that, the blockchain does not rely on a few key players, making it more valuable as well. And lastly, the utility of the token can also be used as a measure of value. So things such as the token supply and impacting the rate of inflation of the token and the token utility are all measures of value. With these factors in mind, we can now dissect the valuation methods. First, the network value to transaction ratio is used frequently to value a blockchain. It is calculated by dividing the network's market capitalization by its transaction volume. And so the lower the NVT ratio, the more transactions are made in relation to the market cap, therefore making it a more active blockchain and more valuable. The second valuation method is the token velocity. And this is very important because it incorporates liquidity of the blockchain. It is determined by taking the total transaction value and dividing it by the average network value. A higher token velocity implies that there's a more widely usage, of the blockchain, therefore making it more liquid and subsequently more valuable. The third valuation method is Metcalfe's law. It states that the value of a network is proportional to the square number of users. And so, according to a research study conducted to assess Metcalfe's law as a model for Bitcoin's value, the conclusion was drawn that in the medium to long term, Bitcoin's prices appear to follow Metcalfe's law, with R squared being above 80% for periods used, meaning that the majority of periods Bitcoin's value would increase as the users increased, and it would also decrease as when the hype would lag off. Less users would use the blockchain, therefore making it decreasing its price. The final valuation method is the discounted cash flow model. This is at times maybe hard to use because there are no traditional cash flows to consider. However, one approach to forecast the use of blockchain in other applications. So, for example, if blockchain is used for a decentralized financial system, fees stemming from that, from those trades or lending or other financial activities would generate future cash flows, and this would make it possible to discount these cash flows back to their present value.